Welcome back to the Game Changer series. This week we are chatting with the incredible Jennifer Jaden. She is a business coach, a branding expert, and the founder of Society Gal, an incredible community of really authentic and engaged female entrepreneurs who are building businesses of their dreams and brands that captivate. We talk about what not to do when you're trying to build an authentic community. We talk about the Instagram gold that increases your engagement by 30%. And lastly, we talk about the brain hack that Jennifer uses every single morning to rewire her brain for entrepreneurial domination. So if that sounds good, then stick around. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so freaking excited to introduce all of you today to Jennifer Jaden. Thank you so much for coming, girlfriend.
Yay, I am so excited to be here. When she reached out, I was just so excited because I love everything that you do. So to be a part of this series is just an honor. So thank you.
You are so welcome. I can't wait to share your incredible story with everyone who watches the Game Changer series. And I also want to really deep dive into some of the awesome, juicy stuff that you talk about that I think a lot of people kind of skim right past. So, one of the things that I feel like you just do incredibly well, and I would love to sort of deep dive into a little bit more with you, is building a community that is really authentic and isn't just, it's not just surface level. So you can really tell with all of the communities that you have with, multiple businesses, but really your community you can tell is like-minded chicks all on the same kind of a mission, and they're there for the same reason. It's not just, skimming past, looking at some beautiful pictures, a quote here and there, which of course we all love a good quote, not knocking them at all. But I'd love to know your, strategy and your advice with people who are looking to build a community that is actually engaged and authentic and, what are your tips there?
So my first tip would be, with Society Gal, I really didn't have this huge agenda for it. And I think a lot of us go into business or, a new venture in a place of almost like desperation. So this really didn't start in a place of like, oh, I need to get clients from here. Oh, I need to do it. Was just like, I'm just going to create a community and I know I need to do it. So I think I really gave myself permission to not feel desperate to get people in the group. So I think if you can come from a place of like service as opposed to like, I need this, I see everyone else having a community, I need to have it, but a place of actually, I want to bring together people so I can help them is like the mindset. And so I think that I got really, really clear on who like a Society Gal was and what attracted them. And so when you're starting your business or when you're wanting to, create something, you need to get really clear on like who you're trying to attract. Because if you're not aligned, you're not going to attract those people. So I think I just got really, really clear on who it was, what they loved, what they needed, and it really just grew itself. I think, that's like the key to success. And I always teach my clients and, people I meet, the first thing I'm like, okay, who's your ideal audience? Who are they? What do they do? And I think people are like, oh, like, does it really matter? Yeah, it matters. So I think just getting really crystal clear on who you're trying to attract, what they need, who do you need to be to serve them and things like that. So
awesome. And I mean, that's so important for so many reasons, not just building your community, but what is your advice to the people who are just starting out and feel like, first of all, maybe like I could be for anyone. I know I totally felt like that in the beginning, like I'll work with anyone who has, their credit card ready. But also maybe you don't know who you're, don't know a lot about your ideal client yet. What are some things that you can do to really deep dive into that person so you know how to be there for them and to, like you said, really speak to them?
So usually the person you want to help most of the time is going to be you at some point in your life. So whether that's you now or whether that's you in the past or you who you're striving to be. So you kind of want to think about yourself. If you can't think of like a person, think of yourself and like, what do you like? What's attractive to you? What do you, love to learn? How do you love to learn? And really provide in a sense of you. Another way is to define your best friend. So write down all the qualities of her, what she likes. And that's like a great way to kind of get in the ritual of figuring out who your client is. So I would suggest either use yourself as your like ideal client or kind of like write down the qualities of your best friend.
Cool. I've never heard that before, writing it down as your best friend. Really, really interesting, because I know, for me, what was really beneficial was thinking about when I was writing and, posting, thinking about that person who does already love what I'm talking about. And I think that makes a big difference in making you feel more confident and in your message, especially when you don't know your client yet. So that's an incredible first tip in terms of like coming across really authentic and really being able to build your community in a way that doesn't feel like you said desperate, or doesn't feel like you're there looking for something from your community, which I'm sure like we can smell it a mile away, right? But when you are growing and looking to scale, what are the things that you can do to really take that from just being a community where you share, your authentic self, but also, posting the things that your ideal client needs to know, to really being able to take it to that next level where you have this growing kind of snowball effect community?
So I would say that you kind of have to build the plane while it's flying. I think that's a big thing, is people think they need to have it all figured out. And the truth is you don't. So I'm all about like getting started and like getting moving before you feel 100% ready, because honestly, you'll never feel ready. Like that's just, you never will. So I think that if you kind of start small and, you just test the waters, see, what people like, what they don't like, that kind of thing is really important. But then kind of just, once you figure it out, just go all in, and go for it and really follow. Here's a good tip. I always say, get a group of like 10 people that that would be like, you would love to work with, or, you really trust, and get a questionnaire with like 10 questions so you don't take a lot of their time, and call each and every one. Well, email them first and ask them if you can set up a call with them. And find out like, what are their struggles? Like, what do they need help on? What are they struggling with in their lives? And if you can find like a medium between all of them, then that's a really good indication of what you should be doing and how you can scale it bigger. So I think a lot of the times people start something like this and like they hear crickets, no one's there, they're like, oh, what am I doing this for? And you really have to look past like the current situation and go to like, what could it become? And you're going to have to adjust. Like with Society Gal, I was posting to literally like my aunts and cousins first in the group. Like, you know what I mean? We all have to start somewhere. But I just really listened to what people needed help with, really did my homework, really. And I was able to grow, organically on its own. So I would say, don't give up. Just keep going. Know that it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did I answer your question? I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess my other question as well, that you just kind of made me think of, is did you have any success with, a lot of people are there's a lot of strategies on Instagram and, whatever social platform you're on. Did you have any success with other social platforms, or are you the type to say, just choose one or choose a couple that are like right up your alley and go for it?
Right. So before Society Gal, I actually had a pretty successful blog. And, we did have a really big following and things like that, but I ended up selling it and moved on. So I think you need to really pick where you got to go back to think about who your ideal client is and where are they hanging out. If they're like 40, 50, 60 years old, they're probably not on Instagram. They're probably on Facebook. So you really need to dominate Facebook. But if you're, looking to work with 18 to 25 years of age with people, then you probably need to be on Instagram. If you're wanting to work with like 14-year-olds, you probably need to go on Lively. So you really have to figure out where are your people at and dominate that space. Now, not to say you can't be on every platform, but if it's just you and you know all you have is time, then go ahead, go for it. But you're probably, you know, going to be spreading yourself a little thin. If you have a team, you know, that's fine. You can be on every platform. But if you really need to get strategic, I firmly believe in just kind of focusing on where you're going to get your best bang for your buck and time, and really showing up to where your ideal clients are. Because like I've tried every social media platform out there, you know, and sometimes it works. Like you think of Vine. I don't know. Did you ever use Vine?
No, not personally, but
Okay.
I watched.
Okay. Right. So a lot of like people came from Vine,
Right.
You know, it was only like a 2 or 3 year type of social platform, but because they really took off and there's no longer Vine anymore, they were able to carry that through, you know, to Instagram now, Facebook, YouTube, and that kind of thing. So figure out what you like to do and what the platform's used for. So if you like doing more live streams, then do that platform. If you like just like little words, and use Twitter. If you like pictures, use Instagram. If you like it all, use Facebook. Like figure out what you like, where your ideal clients are, and then marry the two.
Love that. A happy little marriage. Do you have any, you know, tips for people who are starting out on Instagram and want to like really utilize hashtags? That's something I get asked a lot and I don't know much about. You know, how do you find the right hashtags for you, and like what is the process of, you know, figuring out where, you know, how to bring those people to your social platform?
Right. So hashtags are gold right now. Like you need to be using hashtags for sure. As of right now, August 2nd, 2017. We don't know. It changes quite quickly. But as of right now, hashtags are gold. It's how people are going to find you. It's how people, you know, you're going to start building a community within yourself. So I would suggest that you can have a total of 30 hashtags, I believe, on your Instagram post. So I don't like to clutter my curated caption with a lot of hashtags. So in the comments below, I'll keep all of my hashtags in a note on my phone, and I'll just copy and then paste them in a caption below just to keep things clean.
Yeah.
But I mean, hashtags are really important, and you want to make sure that you're staying within hashtags that have no more than, you know, but somewhere between 50,000 and less than 1 million users. Otherwise, it's going to get lost. So like, don't use basic hashtags like flowers or hashtag photo or hashtag, you know, tree. Like you want to find actually curated hashtags that, you know, where are your people hanging out? What kind of, you know, people are they? Are they Darling Magazine? You know, are they, you know, like Society Gal, hashtag Society Gal? You know, find out like what is in that community and what kind of people are using that hashtag, and it will be really beneficial. As of right now, again, Instagram, if you type in a hashtag you like, there'll be suggested hashtags at the top, so you can kind of scroll through those. So you just want to kind of do your research, is what I call it, and figure out, you know, what hashtags are in between that 50,000 and, you know, 500,000, less than 1 million area, and what, you know, where your followers looking when they're using hashtags.
That's really interesting. And that I've seen that before where they sort of pop up at the top. And that's a great tip in terms of like finding similar ones where your people are clearly at. Awesome. I love that so much. And I'm glad to know that we now have the gold nugget of like what's important on Instagram.
It is. It really it is. Like I can tell a difference. If I don't use hashtags, I'll probably get like 30% less engagement if I don't use hashtags. So it's really important to use hashtags on Instagram for sure.
Cool. I really love that. And so I know you mentioned that you had a blog and successful blog in the past, and now you run the Society Gal community. You also have, JenniferJaden.com. And so and I'm sure more that we don't even know about, so you have a lot going on. I'd love to know a little bit more about kind of how do you juggle those things? Like you and I were kind of talking before we started about really, of course, we post on Instagram the parts of our lives, like the new puppy and, the shiny parts of our life. But I'm sure it's crazy running, multiple businesses and trying to, make sure that you keep everything together. And do you have a team? I'd love to know more about, how you keep it running smoothly.
Right. So I have like a different view on running a business than a lot of people. I don't like to work. I mean, I love to work. I love what I do, but I don't like to like structure things as much as some people do, which could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. I don't know. I've been doing this for years and I've been successful. So why, fix what's broken?
Yeah.
I really set up systems in place from the beginning so that I, for instance, like easy things like if someone wants to schedule a call and you do the same, I have like a link that they can schedule it so I'm not going back and forth. Or if someone, needs to ask me questions, there's like a form they can fill out. Or if, I just try and systemize things as much as possible so that I'm not having to go back and forth for the little things. So I would say that I like kind of having my organized chaos. And I really just kind of say no a lot. And I think that's really, there's a lot of power in that because it gives me time to say yes to the things that are really important to me. And so a little back history, because this maybe will make more sense. I got really sick. And so this is how I kind of got into this little like freelance entrepreneurial world, is because I got really sick. So I'd always been, on the go, like never sit at home, always like on the go. And I got really, really sick. And the only way I was able to survive or like work was to do like freelance stuff. So I think I realized through the process of getting, really, really ill that it's okay to say no to the things that don't serve you. And I've really created I have to keep like a very peaceful life just because I have really bad anxiety. So I just don't get caught up in the little things. And I try to minimize as much drama in my life as possible so that I can do the things that I love, which is, build the Society Gal community, because it doesn't feel like work to me at all. Like it's fun and able to work, with my clients and help build like people's dreams. So to me, it's not even work and I love it. And I don't mind answering an email here and there. I adapt the rule of like, if I see an email, I answer it right then and there, because then it doesn't like, it just gets
you
done.
out. Yeah.
Right. So I take care of things like as they come. I try not to like systemize them as much as possible, those type of things. So I'm like the most unstructured person. I've tried like Asana, Trello, all those things. But that's just me. So maybe I'm not a good person to ask.
No, but I love that. I mean, I think that's really important to touch on, because there's so much out there about, having this perfect schedule and making sure that everything is absolutely, in this specific way. And I'm all about making a schedule that works for your life, so that what that you're doing the things that you prioritize, but it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And that's what is so cool about what we get to do. We are the boss. We can decide if we want to work from 9 to 5 or from 5 to 9. It's like totally totally up to you.
But I do organize my social media. I forgot to do that.
Okay.
So I do use like Planoly and like schedule some things out very loosely, not like crazy, because I'm very like intuitive. Like I'm an intuitive business owner, I guess.
I love it.
I guess that's how I would describe it. I act on the moment.
I love that. But it is important to mention, like, especially I work with free spirits. I work with creative people. So I hear a lot, like, I'm very intuitive. I like to run my business, like, whatever feels good, which is incredible. And I love that. But there's something to be said about scheduling things like your Instagram posts or things that, make sense to really put your energy into it all at once, because then you like have the freedom to be more creative. And when you're inspired, do it all at once, right?
Right. And going back to, do I have a team? I don't really have like a team. I mean, I have like assistants or VAs here and there and like copywriters and things I hire out. So yes, I do have a team, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a team.
But just, I guess I'm at a point right now, and I'm going to be completely transparent, but that if I'm going to scale my business, you have to have like the support of a team. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the transition I'm going in right now. So absolutely, if you want to have like an evergreen type of lifestyle and make money while you're on the beach, you can absolutely have that. But that's if you set up the right systems in place and you have a team doing the work for you. Like, yes. I love the quote, like, you have as many hours in the day as Beyonce. Like, cool, yeah, we do, but we don't have the support in the team that she does. So people are doing things on behalf of her all day. And that's kind of the magic. So like, if you are looking to, be an entrepreneur because, oh my gosh, you get this free work from wherever lifestyle and you can do that, you can totally do that. But you have to have the support and that, back end of your business set up properly to do so.
Love it.
So that's where my transition's happening kind of right now. So.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. That's such a huge, moment where it's like, time to take off. I love that. Okay, so you mentioned something earlier that I think is so interesting. And I know you said, building my community doesn't feel like work. I could easily do it all day. I would love to hear, how you set up boundaries in your life, because I know tons of us who, love what we do. It's easy to continue working later on in the night, especially if you work from home. It's like hard to really create those boundaries know when you're working and when it's time to do you and not have anxiety.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough thing. And I think everyone's trying to figure that out right now because we're in such a different era of instant gratification now and, feeling like we need to answer questions ASAP. And I think you need to give yourself permission to turn off your phone or to step away or know that you don't have to answer your client's questions right away.
Instantly.
Yeah, instantly. And I mean, I do that. I think we all do that, right? We want to be there, but
of course,
you have to understand you're running a business and you have to set boundaries. So I, on my email, I guess one tip or one step I took is I put my office hours on my emails now. So it says, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever, hours, so that if I'm not getting back to my client and they're like, hello, you can kindly say I'll get back to you once, I'm back in the office or, during those times. So I think little things like that is important, just to tell your client when you're available. And I think, I think a lot of us are very overgiving and kind and, that's what makes us so great at what we do. But really telling your client what to expect from the beginning, saying you have email access from me Monday through Friday, but on the weekends you don't, so that if you overgive, then that's okay. But if you have those boundaries set up from the beginning. So I would just kind of write down those things and put them on your website somewhere so that if ever someone's questioning it, you can just send them a link and say, here, I'm happy, you can email me, but I'm not going to get back to you on the weekends, or just setting, those boundaries. Or having your assistant say that for you. Because sometimes you feel like, I can't say that. And just having your assistant say, hey, she's not in the office right now, but she'll respond to you then. So
yeah, that's a great tip. And I know, a few of my clients have kind of had to set boundaries as well with their Facebook Messenger inbox, private messenger. So they now have their assistant go in and say, hey, shoot her an email.
Right.
Because there is definitely, it's easy to kind of cross those lines in your business. You have to know what, I guess, feels good to you, and move in that direction. So I'd
Right.
also love to know, do you have like, and I know you touched on being, ill a little while back, and really now making that a priority to take care of yourself and to make sure that you don't feel anxious. Do you have a, morning routine or kind of, self-care ritual that helps you run your business like a boss without ever feeling like it's, taking over or making you feel run down or overwhelmed?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I did. So when I got sick, it took us like a long time to figure out what it was, and then the healing process. And so about a year ago, I found this program called DNRS, which is Dynamic Neural Retraining System, and it's based on the science of neuroplasticity. So you're actually rewiring your brain to not, go down those neural pathways of, you know, whatever's negative in your life, because it can affect your body and your health. And that's what happened to me. And so
Wow.
I, you know, I call it my like brain hack. But yeah, so for a year straight, I was doing a 90-minute or a 60-minute daily, what I call them rounds. And what I do is, it's kind of like this, I guess, mantra thing that you do to really rewire your brain to be in a place of thriving instead of surviving, because I think a lot of us are in a state of survival, fight or fight, feeling anxious. Any of those are just like your nervous system. So you're not able to be in your, highest power if you're in a state of anxious and overwhelm and stuff all the time, and you'll run into adrenal fatigue or feeling like chronic fatigue and all those things that come with it. So I really had to rewire my brain to be in a place of calmness and being able to really take in what the universe has to bring to me. And so, yeah, I mean, for a year straight, I every day, 60 minutes, my little power thing. But I would just say that spending, 10, 20 minutes just with yourself and just going over what you're grateful for and what, even the things that you don't feel grateful for yet, just feeling the gratitude for that because for some reason it's there, and just really quieting your mind. And I know a lot of us, we can't quiet our minds, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I always say, like, because if I'm like at a yoga or something and I'm like, quiet your mind, my mind's like running. Like,
Like, no, thank you.
yeah. So I always just go to a place of being gratitude or being grateful, and just really, and it will change your life. Like just being grateful and really, thinking, I guess, really great thoughts about the future too, and really being in a place of visualization and stuff like that. So absolutely, gratitude has changed my life for sure.
I love that so much. That's really incredible. Well, thank you so freaking much for sharing all of that with us. I feel like we covered like a whole,
I know. Am I
we went everywhere, but I love that so much. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us. And I think you're a real inspiration for anyone who's looking to grow a community and then leverage that community, but in a way that you're coming across really authentic, and not just coming across that way, actually being really authentic, and then having your community like being really excited to work with you, and feeling really supported as well. So thank you so freaking much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And you guys need to check out her It Girl Masterclass. It's brand new, and I've already watched it. It's absolutely incredible. I'm going to leave the link below, and she dives into a little bit more about some of the things that we talked about today, especially, social media and branding yourself and getting clear on, what are the things that you really, need to be putting out in your messaging, some of the stuff that we kind of chatted about today. So go check it out, and thank you again for coming, girl.
Thank you so much.
Bye.